Pac-Man World Rally is a Mario Kart clone. That's it. Review over. Have a good day. Alright, let's be more specific. Pac-Man World Rally is a kart racing video game released in 2006. Capitalizing on the Pac-Man World series, this game is in many ways bog standard. Operating on the statement Mario Kart clone will get you very far in understanding how it plays. Accelerating at the right time in the start of a race will give you a boost. Item boxes litter the level, giving you power-ups to use. Initiate a grind to generate a boost. Run through the track a set number of laps. Standard kart racing. What you will find after that is Pac-Man World Rally is a really good kart racer and it has a lot more stuff going on than you would first expect. Starting with the controls, the timing for the opening boost is between the third and final ghost for the starting animation and is fairly lenient in its timing window. You hold acceleration to move forward, can initiate a grind from a little hop, and can collect power-ups from these little blue or green boxes throughout the level. Under regular conditions, you can hold 2 different power-ups without any additional effort. They are added to your character upon pickup, with the oldest being held behind your cart by default, and replaced by the next in line once disposed of. If you collect a green box, you will be given enough power-ups to fill 3 slots. This is a unique state that only green boxes will get you, and as such, they usually yield less valuable power-ups than their blue counterparts to compensate. These boxes in particular are usually, not always, placed in relation to another underlying mechanic that I will be addressing later. The available power-ups are as I will describe now. The green Pac Bomb will run in the direction aimed and hits racers. It will actually turn to look back if you hold back while driving. Red Pac Bomb will track the next place racer. Blue Pac Bomb will track the first place racer. Pac-Dora Box, which is an incredibly obvious fake box that will spin out the racer. Atomic Pellet, which gives you a decently long speed boost. Pac-Snowman, which will throw snowballs at enemies, and if you collide with it, will put you in an ice block that you need to mash acceleration to get out of fast. And Storm Cloud, which does this. There's not a lot of items here, but special mention goes to the Snowman for having the added utility of throwing snowballs and requiring the player to mash acceleration. To continue the subject of power-ups, another mechanic must be discussed. The Pac-Mobile. Throughout tracks, there will be what the manual claims is a power pellet. Making contact will unlock a line of pellets in said location that the player can collect. Collecting these pellets fills a meter. Once that meter is full, you can activate the Pac-Mobile. Upon activation, all other players will become invincible blue ghosts, while you become an invincible Pac-Man cart, hell-bent on eating the blue ghosts. Eating them will cause that racer to spin out or slow down on you for a short amount of time, and the Pac-Mobile itself doesn't last very long. What the game wants you to do with it is hunt down other racers. What you will probably use it for is the ultimate survival option. Being completely invincible, you can take any and all hazards and thereby save yourself from a really nasty hit. Something incredibly strange this game does is there are unlocks tied behind this mechanic. When you're racing in the standard circuit mode, the amount of racers you've eaten is recorded. Eating a proficient amount of ghosts on certain cups will unlock power-ups in the game. Eat 6 ghosts in Cherry Cup, unlock the Black Pac Bomb, which is the same as the green but has an area of effect explosion upon collision. Eat 8 ghosts in Grape Cup, unlock the Ice Dragon, which spits 3 ice blocks behind you that go away after a short time and require the player to mash acceleration to escape if hit. Eat 10 ghosts in Watermelon Cup, unlock Sir Pac-A-Lot, which is a red bomb that apparently wins fights with other power-ups. The last power is unlocked by eating 12 ghosts in Classic Cup, unlocking the Galaga ship, which sort of just shoots everything in front of you. There are a couple problems with this system. First being it doesn't tell you in the game anywhere. You have to look up this info online or in the game manual to know this is even a thing. The second big problem is actually doing this. Cups are mostly 4 races each, and certain stages are more conductive to getting pellets than others. Yet if you're performing well like you probably should be, all the racers will be behind you, where it isn't opportune to eat them. As a result, the best way to meet these thresholds is to purposefully restrain yourself and either let the computer pass you so you can get those numbers up, or do something stupid like drive backwards. The most egregious one here is the last one, the Galaga ship. That thing requires you to eat 12 ghosts in a cup with 3 tracks, the highest total you need to do over the shortest span of time. One of those 3 tracks also happens to be the shortest in the game. It's incredibly rough to actually do, but the rewards are neat. Something worth noting in passing is the controls of the Pac-Mobile and the Ghost respectively aren't exactly the same to regular gameplay. Handling and acceleration spike for one, but another aspect you will need to consider is that you lose access to grinding. Grinding in this game is incredibly powerful. It is not too difficult to drive in a straight line after initiating a grind, and the boost it gives you is significant and guaranteed to get you to max acceleration. The core to good performance in this game is maintaining grinds for significant periods around corners, and quickly using one to regain speed in case of bomb-slinging shenanigans. There is, however, something else that the grind does. Whenever you're grinding, you are building up a grind meter. Upon filling up the meter, you get either an expendable angel or devil, depending on whether the binary morality of the Pac-Man universe says you're evil or not. These guardians serve as an expendable shield that will tank through anything for a short period of time and sorta increase your acceleration. But the shield thing is more important. You can hold 3 shields at once, and you can use these in response to getting hit from power-ups, given many of them have a delayed effect on the player. The largest exception here being that the blue pack bombs just won't let you. While they do have utility, these shields largely feel like a second thought, as they don't gracefully interact with the track design. There are 15 tracks in this game, with the PSP version having an extra one. These tracks are standard for this type of game, with the most interesting aspect being the lack of off-road dirt. The biggest change these tracks have is the mechanic of fruit. On every level, there is anything from 1 to 3 different fruit shortcuts. To use a fruit shortcut, you need to first activate the shortcut and then collect the relevant fruit in the level, at which point you can expend the fruit to open the path. Shortcuts can only ever be activated after they first appear in a stage, so you'll be doing the first lap without them. Almost every fruit shortcut has a green item box to collect, and cuts down on the distance you need to travel. What these do to the gameplay is give the veteran a preordained game plan on how to do every stage the fastest that you wouldn't know how to do blind, at least to an extent. If you miss activating a shortcut or just can't grab the necessary fruit, it's not that big a deal. The shortcuts save maybe seconds on average, but they are there to keep you engaged. For the most part, the shortcut system is a good addition to the game, but not all of them are bangers. Funhouse of Terror is the 3rd track in the Watermelon Cup and is also the strangest level in the game. The premise of this track is that it is nonsense. You teleport all around to various small sections, but the main section is split into 3 paths. First splintering left or right, the game wants you to go right. From there you can go high or low. The purposes of these paths is to facilitate going left, because left has fire hazards that will spin you out unless you possess the necessary fruit. Both of the other paths have a fruit for you to unlock to facilitate the left path, and thus the larger meta of this level is to take these paths and with the necessary fruit, use the shorter path on the final lap. The problem is, you also have access to Guardian Shields, a mechanic that makes you immune to stage hazards that don't involve falling somewhere, and these can be built up fairly easily. If you just use these shields to tank the fire, you can get through this stage in a preposterously fast time to what they wanted you to do. The computer can't compete. This lack of forethought to how mechanics interact sort of permeates throughout the game. The tracks are all good, but they also feel clunky in a sense, like they weren't built with the racers in mind. There's a jump in Arctic iceberg that sometimes doesn't work. The ice physics are also awful on this stage. The 90-degree turns of Jungle Safari are a bit rough. The hitboxes on certain hazards like Spooky's Castle's axes or Molten Mountain's fireballs are a bit off. And I've had Galactic Outpost glitch after falling off a cliff and respawn me in a different location, skipping half the track due to how it's designed. These issues are, however, a small blemish on a strong and admittedly small number of tracks. Aesthetic is a very strong aspect of this game. The biomes for all of the tracks are varied, pretty much covering a ton of archetypal locations rather than tying in with the previous World games in any way. There are no Treewood Forest or Gokeka Heights levels here. In a certain sense, the overlying aesthetic reeks of generic, but there's usually a lot going on in these levels and the art direction is very fitting. Where this game really takes off is with its music. The game has one of the most slept-on OSTs around. Almost all of the songs are bangers. Most of the songs are some variation of the main Pac-Man theme. Though others are variations of other themes or straight out new songs. The only thing disappointing with the music is that, like Pac-Man World 3 before it, the game has really poor audio balancing. The music can get overtaken by sound effects to the point where some character karts alone blare over it. Other aesthetical subjects to note: the menu UI is kinda bad, the loading screens are fantastic, and they fixed Blinky and Clyde's names from the previous World games. Alright, so what's left? This game has 14 playable characters, 16 in the PSP version, 3 of which are unlocked by completing the Rally Cup of the various difficulties. The Rally Cup being all tracks but only 1 lap each for whatever reason. These characters are generally ripped from the World games, with some questionable picks and some obvious omissions. Arranged by weight class, you have lights, which are proficient in acceleration and handling, mediums, which are average, and heavies, which focus on raw speed. Due to the power of grind boosting, heavies are, in my opinion, clearly the most powerful, though there really isn't that much of a difference between any of them. There is a hidden AI difficulty that is unlocked via winning the Rally Cup on Hard, Nightmare. There is a time trial mode that operates how you would expect, giving you 3 atomic pellets, and challenge to beat it as fast as possible. No unlocks are related to this mode. The last thing to address is Battle Mode. For whatever reason, Battle Mode is its own beast, with 5 game modes to choose from and its own custom weapons. The weapons are sprinkled around the provided maps along with certain power-ups, and have varying effects of usability. There are 4 maps in this mode, 6 for the PSP version. I actually really like this battle mode. The way I set it up is last kart driving with increased health and max AIs, grabbing the railgun and then initiating a grind, spraying the opponents to then boost into them, swapping into another weapon or what have you is incredibly fun. The reason I use last kart driving is because there is no mode with a set number of lives until you lose. The next closest is the default mode of Deathmatch, which counts up kills you inflict for a victory threshold. With a lot of computers, it's just kinda stupid and is best suited for a one-on-one round with a friend. Last thing to note is the PSP version also has a whole extra mode in challenges, but loses out being the clearly superior version by having fewer players per race. If we're going to be reasonable, we must recognize that this game doesn't exist in a bubble. Time spent playing this game could be spent playing its Mario contemporary, and as such the question then becomes, what this game does right to beat out that opportunity cost. The available characters are low and a bit strange, there aren't that many tracks, the tracks themselves echo cliché, and the available items are standard and generic. Push past that, you have a game with very tight controls, pretty high base speed, interesting level gimmicks, and some pretty solid side modes. It may be weirder than you might first expect, but Pac-Man World Rally is certainly a great game.